Hi, everyone. Harry here to talk about David Weiss, special counsel in the Hunter Biden investigation, his announcement that he intends to indict Hunter Biden on gun charges and imminently by the end of the month. Let me set this up a bit and play it with an open hand because I think this is kind of rank. So recall what happened. There were big negotiations that dragged on. I mean, this case has been being investigated, and Hunter Biden aside, if it weren't Hunter Biden, it is really not just not the case of the century. It's pretty small potatoes. But they agreed to a plea agreement where Biden would plead guilty to a couple misdemeanor tax counts. And that involved taxes he hadn't paid. And to all of this comes about because of a very dark period in his life where he's using drugs, crack cocaine, and generally, totally plumbing the depths. All right, so he doesn't pay taxes for a couple years. He does one other thing. He applies for a gun. And on that gun application, he says he's not using drugs. That's a lie. He is using drugs. So there's another crime that is all kind of bound together in the plea agreement, that is lying on a form. And the way the DOJ agrees to handle it with Hunter Biden is through what's called a diversion agreement. He basically keeps his nose clean, shows up at probation regularly, and at the end of 2 years, it goes away. All right, so that seemed like all done deal. Now, so what had happened between now and yesterday when we now know that the special counsel is going to indict him on the gun charges? First, they had a hearing just to effectuate, it usually would be a dull affair, the actual agreement they'd come to. But both lawyers, and really this falls more on DOJ, blundered a bit and included the diversion agreement and seemed to leave it to the court, the judge, to say whether it had been complied with and the like. And the judge properly said, this is a determination that the executive branch makes whether to bring charges or not. I can't get involved in that determination. She was right. And so the agreement unwound before our eyes in federal court. And at that point, Biden, of course, had to plead not guilty, which he did. And so that's the sort of beginning. That's how the eggs got broken, as it were. The only thing that's happened since, really, to the public eye, is that Republicans have made a total ruckus about this supposed sweetheart deal for Hunter Biden. And under some pressure and a request from David Weiss, Merrick Garland accorded Weiss special counsel status, even though that's anomalous. Special counsels are supposed to come from outside the department. It wasn't true that he had been in any way hindered in his job, and in particular in the ability to bring charges in another district, which a special counsel can. But be that as it may, and for somewhat political reasons, Garland does that. Okay, so now we have yesterday's announcement, and they now are going to indict him on the gun charge, and probably, by the way, as of now, also bring the charges for taxes in either New York or DC. Here's why I think it kind of stinks. First of all, the Department of Justice generally, he lied on the form. Hunter Biden lied on the form, but the diversion agreement was a very appropriate way to go. The Department of Justice generally doesn't bring charges for lying on the form unless the person who lies uses the gun that he or she acquired through the lie to commit another crime. Then they would tack on the lying on the form. Otherwise, they don't. That's the basic policy. And here they're just departing from it. And why? Well, I think, it's certainly got something to do with Hunter Biden being Hunter Biden and Weiss perhaps feeling chastened at all the criticism. But, not only is that kind of all that happened here, did he not use it to commit another crime? It's really even more benign, you could say. He has the gun for all of 11 days. His girlfriend throws it away. it's a quick misstep by a drug affected, totally messed up young man, and it really amounted to nothing. So they normally wouldn't bring it seems to me. And moreover, and this you're going to hear, this case is not done yet. What Abby Lowell, Hunter Biden's very capable counsel, is going to say is, you know what? We had a deal. And the fact that there was this hiccup in court from the judge doesn't really change that. And guess what? The deal provides for Hunter Biden for 2 years to be going to the probation office and otherwise keeping his nose clean. And he has been doing exactly that. He has gone ahead and complied with the agreement. So even though in open court, after there was that mess up, they had to say, all right, deal's off, and Hunter pleads not guilty, there's a pretty strong argument, if you're just thinking of it as a sort of agreement or contract, that this was, basically a deal that was stitched up, that Hunter Biden has relied on and has done his part, and that there's really no good reason now to be coming down on him. The problem for him, however, is that kind of argument is very hard to make, even if it feels fair, and especially as against the evidence that in open court they said deals off as they sort of had to. And it's irrelevant to the actual charges. You're not going to be able to tell a jury, DOJ doesn't normally do this or whatever. It's just going to be the sort of open and shut case. Did he say this on the form that he wasn't using drugs? Yes. He said that. Was he using drugs? Yes. So if they really barrel through, depending on what judge they get, they may be able to do this. And guess what? It'll be right in the middle of the campaign. It'll give Republicans this really bogus but superficially plausible kind of whataboutism, oh yeah, Trump's guilty of insurrection and of trying to foment a coup and prevent the peaceful transfer of power. But so is Hunter Biden of lying on a registration form, and he's not the president anyway. But it'll just be Biden, Trump, and it will affect our politics in a kind of unfair and even dangerous way. So it seems to me this is actually one of the reasons we went away from the previous independent counsel model, is so that people who were appointed to investigate a single person wouldn't be, wearing blinkers and overly focused on bringing charges. They rather would be guided by DOJ policies overall. As I understand DOJ policies, that this really wouldn't have happened in this case. And nothing, maybe more importantly, nothing that's happened since they made the agreement, whether or not it's a legal justification for undoing it, gives any kind of fair-minded reason for going after him now. Nothing about the lawyer blunder in court, nothing about the Republican pot shots, which I'm sure David Weiss would say, oh, that had nothing to do with it. So why is Hunter Biden suddenly looking at charges here? It's got, I was going to say it's got a bad odor. I'll say it stinks. And, it seems overreaching and unfair to me. But he's now special counsel. Garland has made clear he's, gets to operate on his own, have hands off. And I think he can probably ram it through, though we'll see very forceful arguments by his very able counsel that this is some kind of vindictive prosecution, or that even the deal is still in effect. And look, Hunter Biden is going to probation even as this whole brouhaha plays out. So there's going to be some pretty ferocious pretrial skirmishes if he is indicted, which they've said would happen by the end of the month. Talk to you later. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video and other Talking Feds content, please take a second to like and subscribe. Talk to you later.